Hello and welcome to Boring Dad Gaming, where today I'm going to be taking a look at the demo for Citizen Sleeper 2. This is out as part of Steam Next Fest. It's going to be available until the 21st of October, if anyone would like to check it out for themselves. I haven't played it yet. I thought we'd dive in and take a look. New game. So there are difficulty modes for this, so you can either have a story mode, kind of like a default medium style mode, which you can die, and it's not permanent, but you get a significant penalty. Broken dice is an interesting one, because I don't think that was a mechanic in the first game. So I'm not quite sure what that means. I will say up front as well, I've got a bit of a cold filming this, so if there's any sort of pauses or skips, it's probably because I've paused the recording to blow my nose. I have a sneeze, but it's okay, I'm not too bad. But yeah, just thought I'd get that out there. So we have different classes. So we have Operator. Okay, so this is all set out a little bit differently to the first game. So we've got Interface, Intuit, Engage. Well, these were all skills, I think, in the first game. So Interface, we got a couple of perk points. And I can't click on these and kind of see what they involve, but looks like there's no Endure for an Operator. Let's quickly read these. So Operator Sleepers are built to work with drones and remote machines over local networks to perform corporate resource extraction from a distance. Operators have expertise in working with interfaces and computer systems, but are more physically fragile than other sleepers. Okay, well that ties in with the lack of anything in Endure at the moment. In fact, look, I mean, to me, that looks like it's completely blocked off, so like maybe you can never take perk points in that. Their reboot skill allows them to hack their own systems to reroll dice, a risky but potentially powerful move. Sleepers assigned to Operator usually Operator work are usually cerebral and precise people. Okay, so reboot. Accrue stress to reroll your action dice. +1 stress to reroll lowest dice. Okay, let's look at the next class then. We have Extractor. So they don't have... looking at this, I would say it's going to say it's a physical class that, Intuit doesn't tie directly to intelligence, but that kind of thing. So it seems like maybe they can never level that up. The Extractor Sleepers are built to work at the coalface of corporate resource extraction, often in hard vacuum environments. Extractors have a high level of physical endurance, but their confidence means they struggle with tasks requiring intuition. Their rally skill allows them to motivate those in their team, boosting their crew dice. Now, crew dice versus action dice, I don't think that was a mechanic in the first game either, so we're going to get introduced to quite a lot of different stuff, I think, here. Sleepers assigned to Extractor work are often confident, self-sufficient, and have a high level of endurance. Okay, so yeah, so they're high confidence, so intuition, so they kind of rely on instinct more than kind of assessing a situation, I guess. Accrue stress to boost crew dice. Okay, so we have to go back the other way. And then we have Machinist, who no engage, so maybe they're more like lone wolves, perhaps. Machinist sleepers are built to repair and modify automated systems used in corporate resource extraction. Machinists are very skilled engineers, but their isolated work means they often struggle with tasks requiring a direct approach or social engagement, which we're seeing here. So they're, they're kind of not very socially aware, perhaps, or they're used to being on their own. Their focus skill allows them to focus on a single task and boost their dice to excel in it. Sleepers assigned to machinist work are usually diligent, careful, and structured people. So +1 stress, 2 focus lower dice, to focus and action dice, okay. -1 stressed on focus die, positive outcome. So I noticed that the Extractor class, oh, maybe it didn't. I thought it had a way to lower stress as well. I'm tempted to go with Machinist, actually. I don't know why. Yeah, the idea kind of appeals to me, I think. So let's confirm class. Unknown, a vast and dark interior. In the moment before waking, the dark space before conscious thought, you struggle to find the pieces of yourself. Usually, these pieces come with a particular cadence, each appearing sequentially like the boot process of an old terminal. First, your body. Artificial, compromised, but relaying sense data all the same. Then it's context. the breeze of air filtration, the soft contact of your berth and zero-G. Then emotion, coming into focus, coming into your body, bringing with it that first instinct, the one that has framed your past 100 cycles, fear. But that familiar sequence does not arrive. Instead, you are unmoored in space, your body distant, your context silent, even your emotions somehow obscured and scattered. Among all that disarray, only one familiar thing arrives: the fear. It is a scrambled, panicked fear, the drowning fear, the falling fear, the fear that makes you reach desperately for any stable point. It is the fear that tells you something is wrong, something is very wrong with you. Wake up, sleeper. The voice is whispered in your ear, an act that makes you suddenly aware of your head, pulsing in pain, your body rigid with tension. Sleeper, a familiar name, a mind copied, emulated, a body built, implanted. One person sleeping until their debt is worked away, their double being made to work, to be consumed, and eventually to be destroyed. A proxy, an emulation, a sleeper. That is what you are. So yeah, so you learn this in the first game. It's just a little bit like being like a replicant from Blade Runner. You know, you're an artificial being. You've kind of escaped the environment where you're supposed to be. So you know, people are being sent to hunt you, the company you belong to, and it kind of explains that here as well. So basically, a person who has debt to the company or a company is kind of put into, I don't know if it's like stasis or cryosleep or something like that, but their mind is kind of copied and put into this artificial body, which then has to go out and work for an indeterminate amount of time. A bit like being an indentured servant or something, I suppose, but potentially for a lot longer than the lifespan of a normal person, you know. So, but these artificial beings, they can kind of become a little bit self-aware in their own right, and certainly in the first game, escaped that life to go and sort of live independently. So yeah, it's interesting. But you escaped, you remember that now, broke free of your corporate creators, S and ARP, in search of a future. You cannot remember the details of your escape, but you know the fear has been with you ever since you did. So you also play a different character in this game. It's not related to the character in the first one. It's a whole new individual. All of a sudden you remember you have eyes, and your eyes flicker open. Pale eyes and a pale face, Lane. The name comes with its own specific sensation of fear, one you recoil from instinctively. So this is Lane, relentless, cruel, and on your trail, so I suspect this is someone who's been sent to hunt us down, as I said, like a, you know, like a Blade Runner. Sorry to interrupt, a sharp smirk, but this ends here. You search your mind for more than a name. Is this how you reward me for my generosity? Lane is leaning over your horizontal floating body, looking down into your eyes. I took you in, protected you, gave you a purpose. You try to look away to the corners of your vision to find something you understand. Your body does not respond. But I suppose that wasn't enough. He reaches into the pocket of his jacket and retrieves a small vial. This wasn't enough. The vial glitters. The object you know and have known for a long time. Stabilizer, the drug that keeps your artificial body, your emulated mind, from inevitable decay. The only balm for your planned obsolescence. The liquid rolling in the vial fills you with disgust. Lane pockets the vial. But it would be wasted on you now, after what you have done to this body of yours. He looks at you with a palpable disgust. Lane's eyes scan your body, and as they do, you become aware of the wires and tubes attached to you. Those were meant to free you from your dependence, from the stabilizer and the control it grants Lane. They are free, you piece of shit. They don't need you anymore. The voice oh no, this is different. This isn't Lane. This is another unknown speaker. They are free, you piece of shit. They don't need you anymore. The voice comes from somewhere behind Lane's head. It is a voice you know, but when you search your mind to try to understand why, you find only dizzying darkness. Shut him up! Lane barks the command, and you hear the sounds of impact, of pain from somewhere elsewhere in the room. You try to move your limbs again, and this time you feel a flicker, the twitch of a finger. You feel the extension and compression of synthetic muscle.
I had such big plans for you, Sleeper. I rescued you. I invested in you.
Lane grips your arm hard, and you feel a jolt of reaction. You will the arm to move.
But you have ruined all that.
Lane speaks louder over the sound of the struggle behind him.
I will try to preserve your body, of course. I have my own uses for it. But your emulation?
You feel one of his hands searching behind your head. He finds and grips the thick cable running into the port at the base of your skull.
I will burn that out.
Oh dear. Lane jerks forward, slamming across your body and then spinning away out of sight. You feel yourself rolling, the cables plugged into you, looping and wrapping around your limbs. Your mysterious savior, okay. Then you feel hands steadying you, pulling cables. You glance around wildly, and you see someone diligently unplugging you. You meet his eyes.
Hey! He waves a hand in your dazed face. We need to move. Lane won't be out long.
He unloops a cable from around your wrist.
Sleeper, help me out here.
You blink slowly. Do you know this person? He leans over you and you feel his hands on the connector, flicking switches, releasing locks. Come on, come on, come on! He tugs the connector clear and pulls you up. You see the room you were in for the first time, filled with tech and terminals, wires waving everywhere, all lit by big windows looking out on an impossibly bright, screen-filled street beyond. In the corner you see the dark shape of a floating body, surrounded by a glittering constellation of crimson baubles. Is that blood?
Move!
You are wrestled and shoved towards the door, which slides open in front of you. And then you are out in all that brightness, all that movement, gliding hard towards some unknown destination. You come to a stop in a dark alley. The one who guided you here, pausing, catching his breath. He doubles over beside a massive life support unit that sends a lukewarm breeze across your skin. You stare at him, trying to recall anything about him. You notice his tattered jacket, his lightweight clothes. You remember this station runs hot. Something about the power that flows through the place. He looks up and meets your eye.
What's going on, Sleeper?
He wipes sweat from his forehead and it floats away in a swarm of spheres.
Talk to me.
Who was that? You see a concerned frown cross his face.
Lane?
He blinks a few times.
You're asking who Lane is?
He comes closer, eyeing you carefully.
What station are we on?
What station are we on? He narrows his eyes and waits for the answer. You close your eyes, trying to recall. You force your way through the dark to the image of a station. No, a city, growing on the back of a vast set of hexagonal solar cells, shadowed by them. You open your eyes. Dark side. The word leaves your mouth like an exhale, an instinct. Before you heard yourself sound it out, you didn't know it was there. He sighs.
And me, who am I?
You see something like fear in his eyes. Panic, perhaps. You stare hard at his face. The slight upturn of his mouth, the intensity of his stare. Nothing comes. He closes his eyes and drops his head, putting a hand to his temple.
The reboot.
He is speaking quietly to himself.
Lane interrupted the process and...
He lifts his head and stares at you.
We need to keep going. We need to leave.
He turns and kicks off down the alley.
Come on, the rig can't be far.
As you are led through the passages and serviceways of the station, you try to recall your life here. The texture, the temperature of Darkside feels familiar, but you struggle to pin specific memories to it. Focusing hard, you recall waking up in these passages, cycle after cycle, the rhythms of the station flowing over you along with the crowds. You recall desperation and the slow decay of your body that caused it. Then Lane, those pale eyes, offering you a glittering vial, stabilizer, the promise of supplying more for your work, a deal he locked you into like a cage. There your memory fails you, but in the dark beyond that moment, the residue of panic, of fear, remains. You were Lane's prisoner, Lane's plaything. You shudder in the cold passage. Hold! Your guide holds up a hand and you stop your glide using the wall. Ahead, you see the tunnel opens up into a wide open bay, with a few doors leading to cylindrical tunnels. The docks.
They're watching the rig.
He nods towards the docks, and you see one of the doors has a couple of figures flanking it, one covered in ornate tattoos, the other with bright silver implants along their cheekbones. Is that a you?
Atsubo, Lane's guys.
He looks at you and shakes his head in frustration.
All this, it's not coming back to you, is it?
He places a hand on his chest.
I'm Seraphim, alright?
He looks pained when he speaks.
Lane? He was our captor, both of us. We did this so we could escape.
Troubled, stubborn, and on the run, Seraphim.
We needed to reboot you, to break your dependence on stabilizer.
He pauses.
You know what that is, right?
You nod meekly.
But Lane interrupted me back there. The reboot didn't complete and,
He sighs and shakes his head.
We can still make this work.
He looks back at the docks.
I'll lead them away. You get the docking bridge open. If we make it to the rig, I know how to get us in. Got that?
He searches your face for a sign of recognition. What's the rig? Seraphim looks annoyed.
A ship. Our ship, or at least it soon will be. Lane assigned it to us when we were on jobs for him. Get that door open.
He pats you on the shoulder.
I know you can do this.
Seraphim kicks off hard and glides into the docks.
Over here, shitheads!
He bellows to the guards as he barrels through. They immediately push off from the wall, giving chase. Oh, okay, so I'll read this text first and then we'll look at the tutorial. You wait a breath and glide across to the door they were guarding. You look, already panicked, at the tightly sealed door, its control panel locked out. You hear a shout from somewhere nearby. You need to get it open. So tutorial, during scenes you may encounter skill checks. So the first game, I think it's quite well known, but if anyone didn't know Citizen Sleeper, the first game, it's kind of like a PC version of like a tabletop game. It's got, you know, dice rolls and all that sort of stuff. It was really good. I really enjoyed it, and I enjoyed my playthrough on the channel as well. Check it out. I'll put the link to that series in the description if you're interested to see it. But anyway, during scenes you will encounter skill checks where you can perform certain actions using your skills. Like the dice actions you will encounter later, skill checks can have a positive, neutral, and negative outcome. The better rating of your skill, the more likely you will succeed on a check. The odds of success are displayed when you click the check. You can see more in the guide section of the pause menu. Well, we won't look at the guide. But we can see, yeah, so just mousing over these, we can see that hack the door is an interface check. So I have a largely good chance of getting a positive effect. But if we look at the engineer check, we actually can't have a negative outcome on this because of our starting perks. So, got to flip a coin for a positive or neutral effect. I mean, I think we'll do that, yeah? Neutral outcome, okay. You shift to the central access panel and wrench it open. You scan over the mechanism looking for a weakness. Somewhere you hear more shouting. You reach in and grab the main latch, straining as you bend it outward. The seal releases and you drag the door halfway open. It screeches in its metal frame as you pull.
Go, go!
Seraphim flies past you through the doorway into the docking tunnel. You turn to see the two guards approaching fast across the docks and quickly glide after Seraphim. Seraphim is already at the rig's door inputting an entry code. The rig's doors scissor open and you both rush inside.
Quickly!
Seraphim grabs you by the arm and drags you up to the cockpit, the ship's layout hazy in your mind. He dumps you in a flight seat and straps himself into his own. You see him tap a series of buttons as he does, talking to himself.
Come on!
The rig's drive rumbles into life and Seraphim slams a button on the console. You feel the force of the ship's acceleration as it pulls away. The rig, your refuge in the belt. As the ship glides into place on the connecting bridge, its automatic systems nudged there by the port's docking protocols, you feel a sense of relief. Seraphim burned hard out of Darkside, and you dropped in and out of consciousness in your seat as the rig made its way across the belt. But now, with open space between you and Lane, you feel fresher, more awake. Seraphim breaks the silence.
We're good, Sleeper.
His eyes don't leave the monitor, and you realize this part of your escape is routine for him. You and he must have docked this ship countless times in your work for Lane. The problem is, you don't remember any of them.
We made it,
he whispers, closing his eyes and letting out a sigh. We certainly did. He turns and you see a pained look on his face as if remembering something difficult. Had you said this exact thing to him before in this same situation? Are you okay? He looks at you, chewing one side of his lip, searching your face.
Not really. He puffs. Seraphine reaches up, flicking through a set of switches in a practiced fashion, completing the shutdown. You watch, a little frustrated with your own uselessness. Running the rig, you realise, is just another thing you've forgotten. A clunk that runs through the walls of the ship is followed by a short percussive alarm tone from the pilot's console. Docking complete. Seraphine kicks off from his seat, twisting as he glides past you towards the back of the cockpit. His hands find the rails on either side of the door and he pauses, facing into the corridor beyond. He turns back to you, backlit in cold cyan. We need a plan. He glances around. Lane's not going to let us slip away quietly. He sighs. We need to talk. Seraphine furrows his brow. Not now, Sleeper. We need to forget. He flinches, the words coming out wrong. We need to focus on something other than... He pauses again, unsure. Us. He sighs. We need to survive this thing first. Then maybe we can talk. Stay silent. We've bought ourselves some time. He glances through the cockpit window at the blinking lights of the station. You may not remember Hexport, but I do. And there's plenty of opportunities for us here, if we can keep our heads down. He turns back to the corridor. That's what we'll do. He pushes off and glides towards the main lock, and you follow, pulling yourself along, hand over hand in 0G. We already emptied the tank on this thing. He slaps a hand against the ship's insides. So we need a refuel, and that won't be cheap. But if you and I know one thing, Sleeper, it's how to work. I'm going to get myself reacquainted, see if I can turn up any old connections. People who might throw us an easy contract. You? He glances back over his shoulder. You keep out of trouble. Low profile, got it. Seraphine stops at the airlock. Stopping the reboot halfway through. He pulls a worn crew jacket from a locker and starts pulling it on. We don't know what that did to you. He jams an arm into a sleeve. I don't want you passing out in, He stops. I'll be fine. Seraphine drops his head, swearing to himself. He grabs another crew jacket and thrusts it at you. Just put the damn hood up, will you? You take it and slip it on. Thank you. Seraphine nods. He stabs at the button to open the lock. The inner door hisses open and Seraphine glides through. Wait for a little bit, then leave. Anyone looking for us will be looking for two people travelling together. He looks at you in your worn crew jacket, a limited disguise for what is clearly a sleeper. We meet back here later. Any trouble? Same thing, meet here. He takes another look at your disguise and shakes his head. Oh, this is a shitty idea. He gives you one last look. Maybe find yourself something to eat? Suddenly you recognize Seraphine's instinct to look after you. A flash of a relationship now lost to the reboot. Catch. Seraphine throws a handful of something towards you. You manage to grab the projectiles, and when you open your hand you see a stack of cryo chits. So that's the currency of the game. Those should get you some food. We'll need some more for fuel and supplies. He grimaces. And that means odd jobs on the station for both of us. Seraphine kicks off and glides down the docking bridge. Don't go too far, all right? He shouts as he leaves. Take it slow. And with that he is gone, leaving the connecting bridge and heading into the docking concourse of Hexport. You wait for a moment in silence. Alright, let's make a plan. You try to think ahead to what might be coming. You need work, that's the first step, but what then? Lane will be coming eventually, so the sooner you can put some distance between you and Hexport, the better. So that's the plan. Rest, resupply, and run. You shake the thoughts from your head and pull the jacket tight. Let's see what Hexport has to offer. You kick off and glide into port. Here we go. Welcome to Citizen Sleeper 2, Starward Vector. The game runs in cycles, during which you can perform actions with your dice, use cryo to buy food, fuel, supplies and items, progress clocks towards new scenes and events. So yeah, so you kind of, you can kind of put certain activities on like a timer that's going to take a certain number of cycles to complete. Again, quite a tabletop-y sort of element. It's good fun. You can review tutorials at any time. Yeah, that's good. So this is our ship. That's where we currently are. This is the docks, Hexport Exchange, that way station goods exchange. What else have we got? That's it for now. But as we explore, more things will open up. I'm sure we can look at our character sheet again. Here you can upgrade and configure your sleeper. On the left you can upgrade your skills to improve the skill modifier applied to your dice when you undertake an action. Yeah, so as we can see, we were pretty high in the engineer thing, which is why we couldn't get a negative result on that check. To the right, you can upgrade your push, the unique ability of your class. Okay, I think that's new. When upgrading your push, only one upgrade at each level can be active at once. Oh, you can configure which upgrade is active only while at a hub. Okay, that is new. Alright, let's have a look. So no points available, that's fine. Interface. So I've got... Does anything sort of come up when you hover? Because, like, these are in yellow. I think, well... Oh. Yeah, they're saying I can't take that. Why are these ones in yellow? But these ones, like, you'd think it would be like a progress bar? Or maybe it's not, I don't know. Okay, so... Okay, so I can't add that. So what? -1 stress on focus die positive outcome. So we've got that as a starting push perk, I guess. Okay. Well, let's come out of there. Oop, come out of there for now. Here we got our money, our fuel 0 out of 10, and supplies. Food, water, basic materials, packed and sealed for 0G. Use. Okay. Yeah, I'd like to know, kind of on the perk tree, you know, what stuff is. And what it does. Okay, let's go to the docks first of all. So in the game you perform actions by assigning action dice. These are these things at the top, and these are rolled randomly at the start when you rest, and they're sort of one use for that cycle, so everything refreshes in the next cycle. The higher the dice you assign, the more likely you will succeed in an action, but our kind of starting points are like like ability modifiers. So like if we've got like a +3 in a stat, we can give it like a 2 dice and it'll be like a 5 overall, for example. Oh, it's explaining. Let me just read it. But your dice will be modified by your skill. Your skill modifier for the action is displayed on the right and will reduce or increase the value of the dice assigned to the action. Like skill checks, dice actions have 3 outcomes: positive, negative, neutral. Each action is also rated as safe, risky, or dangerous based on the outcome it has. The more dangerous an action is, the more significant both its rewards and consequences are. Okay. So we have a couple of things we could do, and it'll build into this this sort of wheel. Now this one isn't on a timer. This one is we have to sort of pay in actions to it by kind of doing one of these skills. So we could chat to crews. There are plenty of crews milling around the docks and moving cargo. They could be a good source of info. Now this is an engage skill, which I'm not very, if we remember, I'm not very good at. Oh, I can't bring up my character sheet here, but we're basically, we can never be good at this. Whereas Intuit, we're a bit better at, I think. Hexport's, so this is Explore the Docks. Hexport's docks are a dizzying mess of braided cables and flickering signage, filled with busy spaces. Exploring is both thrilling and intimidating, so let's put this in. If I was to put like a 2 in... that's telling me, yeah, that's quite dangerous. But if I put a 5 in, we got a good chance of a positive outcome. So let's do that. Yeah, +3. You just progressed a clock. Clock tracks your progress towards both positive and negative events, and can be filled by performing actions or passing cycles. Yes. So we want to sort of make friends here. So we could do that again. Yeah, okay, let's do that again. Ah, we've actually filled that clock now. That's cool. We've got a new location now. Alright, so if we hit continue... yeah, as you are gliding across the docking concourse, you hear a scuffle. The noise of raised voices cuts through the conversation drifting out of the dockside shops. Glancing down an alley, you see a huddle of figures shouting back and forth. You spot one man in the middle of the group, surrounded, pushing the others back as they grab at the bag slung over his shoulder. You don't like the way this looks, but then again, Seraphim told you to keep your head down. So Russian is an endure. We obviously aren't very high in that, because it's telling us, you know, yeah, that's literally what it's telling us. But we can cause a distraction, and we got a 75% chance of a non-negative reactions result. So let's try that. Neutral outcome. That seems fine. You look around for something that could break up the fight, and see the thick cooling pipes running down the alley wall. You quickly try to understand the system and choose a valve to start spinning. As you do, the system begins to vent in sequence down the alley, violent jets randomly bursting into the air. There's a scramble in the alley, and you spot the figure who was being attacked drop down to the alley floor. Then your vision instantly fills with pale liquid as a jet of coolant jumps out nearby, missing you but sending you spinning in 0G. After a few moments, you manage to steady yourself. As you do, you see a clear alley, the assailants having fled, with one figure gliding towards you. This is Femi, stubborn salvager captain.
I suppose you think that was clever?
Femi gives you a severe look.
You like to break up fights you didn't start?
He laughs.
Belts can eat you up.
He shifts the large bags on his shoulder, weightless but unwieldy in 0G. I was helping.
Femi laughs. Well, he shakes his head. Thanks, I guess.
He kicks off and drifts past you. You watch Femi go, and then after a moment he stops and turns back. He rubs his forehead as he does.
What's your deal anyway?
He sighs.
Maybe you're new here, but Hexport is no place for do-gooders.
You needed help. Femi smiles.
I didn't think so.
He shakes his head.
Bunch of cowards. Idiots too.
Oh, it's going Irish then.
Getting some beat up over some scrap. Look, let's not hang around, alright?
Femi unshoulders one of the bags and pushes it towards you.
Make yourself useful. Let's head.
You grab the strap of the bag over your shoulder and follow Femi through the docks, gliding past the concourse towards the connecting bridges. Femi cuts down a side passage, looking back to check you're following. Then he stops at a docking bridge connecting to a dull green ship with yellow markings. You look out the viewing window at its odd catamaran-like shape, seemingly built from two separate hulls welded together.
Symbol crash,
says Femi, and you assume that's the ship's name. This is Nia, headstrong and spirited salvager.
Oi, Femi, you bringing in strays?
A young woman, brightly dressed and stretching as she glides, drifts into the passage. She glances at you.
No offence.
Nia.
Femi shakes his head.
This one.
He squeezes your shoulder.
Help me fend off some Hexport scum while you were busy sunning yourself.
Nia raises an eyebrow.
I'm sure you could handle him, big brother.
Oh, maybe she should, if they're actually related, maybe she should be Scottish then. I'm sure you could handle him, big brother. Her glib response hides the flash of concern that passes across her face. You can't tell if Femi noticed. Nia turns to you.
Hey, thanks.
She smiles sweetly.
And I'm sorry for my brother.
She shoots him a glance.
Just in general.
Nia,
Femi murmurs.
Enough now.
He reaches over and takes the bag you were carrying. Nia rolls her eyes at you, but stays silent.
Factory Row wouldn't take these.
Femi hefts the bags.
I'm gonna load them back up. Maybe we'll find a use for them.
He turns back to you.
Thanks for the assist, Sleeper.
He nods firmly.
Not what I expected.
He slaps the button for the bridge door and kicks off along the docking bridge on his way to the symbol crash. Nia looks at you with raised eyebrows.
I hope my brother was joking. Or did you really help him?
Tried.
Hey, thank you.
She looks back at the ship.
My brother needs more help more than he admits.
What do you mean?
She tenses. I don't know if,
She smiles a tight smile.
I shouldn't have said anything.
She pauses, thinking.
I want to ask you something.
She takes a deep breath and then gives you a direct look. What is she building up to?
Are you looking for crew?
She looks away.
Sorry to be direct, but you seem like, well, if you're on Hexport, maybe you're with a crew.
She stops herself.
I mean, maybe your crew needs crew. Maybe you're looking.
Why do you ask? Nia looks back at the ship and then at you.
Look, I'll be honest. Being on a crew with my brother is nice, but he is suffocating me.
She frowns at her own bluntness.
I'm not a kid anymore, you know, but he still sees me like one.
She shrugs.
I want to show him I can handle myself. I need experience. I need to run some contracts.
She gives you a determined look.
What do you say?
Well, she's gone scouse now. Think about it.
I'm a good salvager, alright. You can use me.
She smiles.
I can spot things, find gaps, ways in.
She folds her arms across her chest.
I know what I'm doing. Femi taught me well.
She glances back at the ship.
Just consider it a light. Let me prove myself.
Suddenly a shout comes from the ship, echoing down the passage. Femi, he seems to make both of you nervous. Nia looks in his direction.
I should go.
She pushes off towards the docking bridge.
I'll be waiting.
Nia gives you one last glance as she departs and disappears into the docking bridge, leaving you alone in the passage. New local crew available. So I don't know what that means. That was not something that happened in the... oh, I've gone straight to the rig. So yes, this is our hub. Oh, sorry, no, is our home in the Starward Belt. Okay, while the rig is docked at a hub, there are multiple areas you can visit. Bunks. You can use dice to reduce stress. Galley, use supplies to regain energy. Okay, I think these 3 pips are our energy. You sort of use that as like a non-monetary currency to do certain things. Other locations will unlock as you play. While you're docked here, your crew will also help to gather resources to contribute to the upkeep of your ship. Oh, cool, that's new too. So we could do... Oh, this clock is a cycle clock. It will progress towards an event each cycle. Okay, so that's what this means. I think this is a timer. So each cycle, this will pip up. And I think that's basically when it reaches the top, Lane will find us. So we could... Seraphin... Is this what we're telling him to do? Crew task per cycle. Well, I'm going to come out of the ship, I think. Because I kind of want to go to these other locations. So yeah, so we've got the Benz, which is a chaotic dockside bar. We've got the warehouse for freight storage. Hexport exchange. We have some supply. We need fuel, so maybe we should go to the exchange. Okay. This is dangerous, but we're quite good in the engineer skills. Yeah, so engineer skill... Oh, okay, proficient. I thought it said insufficient, but yeah, so that's telling us we're proficient in this skill, so it's actually increasing the value of our dice there. There is a chance of a negative result, but it's not a high chance. So trade scrap is all about identifying materials and cleaning up components. It's an engineer's job more than a trader's, so we could try that? Rules of the exchange, -6 cryo. I think that was a positive result. So we've done this. The exchange buzzes with the conversation of commerce. This is a place where contracts are found. You just need to look. I think this was our thing. You managed to buy up some small components and resell them, losing cryo, but gaining some contacts among the brokers. Okay. So if I put a 1 in... Yeah, it's flipping a dice between negative and neutral. I don't like my odds of that. So I've only got 2 1s left for this day, so I suspect I'm not going to be able to do very much of that. So we can check out the warehouses. So what is... If I put a dice in there, what does it tell me? Endure skill missing, yeah, so I don't have endure. The warehouses at the Hexport docks supply the industrial operations, blah blah blah, restocking. So this is like, I guess, like a casual job to make money, probably. Look again at my skills. So it's saying endure is missing. I guess that one? Like a very basic one? Interface and... Yeah, I don't really... I think the 0 plus double plus is the modifier it provides. I think these filled yellow ones are our current stats. I think these are things I can maybe buy later, or maybe just earn in the course of the store. I don't know. I'm just speculating here because it's not working the same way as the previous game. Okay, let's check this out. This is probably to get food or something. Here you can eat in exchange for cryo. Eating gives you energy and stops you starving. Okay. Buy a Ben's Fry. Play Star and Stoker. Is a space gambling game played with custom magnetic dice. Okay, so if I was to put a 1 in this, yeah, it's a bit risky, so I'm not going to use those ones, I don't think. I could, so we drag the money into this slot. It's going to take 7. Let's make a purchase. So it fills up our energy bar there. You squeeze your bag and crunch a handful of crisp and greasy radishes and potatoes. Not bad at all. Okay. Oh, hang on. Did I go to the exchange? Oh, what's this? Export trade hall. Okay, that's new. Okay, so we could buy fuel. We probably should, because we don't really have any. Fill fuel. Oh, yeah, that's 50. We don't have 50. So if I put 5 in there, how much does it give? Probably 1, right? Yeah. Buy supplies. Well, I've got some of those. Let's just leave for now. So I think probably all that really remains for me to do this cycle is just go rest up, because... Oh, map. What does that do? Okay, so the first game was all set on one station. The fact that we got a ship and a map makes me think that we're going to be a lot more mobile in this game. That's very interesting. Okay. But I think we need to go rest and hopefully get some better dice. We can get Seraphim to do something. I think... What do we need most of? I mean... Probably the money. Oh, okay, so I think that is selected then because that's next to it. So let's just end the cycle. So we lose an energy, but we've got some good dice now. We're in trouble, Sleeper. Seraphim leans into the berths as you are getting out of your bunk. Without further explanation, he disappears down the corridor towards the rear of the ship. You drift out into the passage, pulling on your clothes, and glide down the length of the ship, the cool air making you shiver. Seraphim is a silhouette silently leading the way. He stops at the far end, diverting through a side door, shooting you a glance as he does. You find Seraphim inside, holding one of a tangle of arm-thick tubes that are waving in the zero-G engine room. You know what these are? Fuel pipes? Seraphim shrugs. Close enough. These are the engine's feed lines. He waves one in the air. Before you ask, no, they aren't supposed to be waggling loose. What happened? These must have broken loose when we pushed the ship hard on our way out of Darkside. He looks at the mess. We're lucky the reserve tank is empty otherwise. He shakes his head. It would have been bad. But... He pushes the pipe to the side. No feed from the reserve tank means that the rig's range is limited to the local region only. He thumps the large lump and housing of the engine. This thing can't take us anywhere far. So we fix it? Seraphim sighs. Well, that's the short of it. He whacks the engine housing again, harder this time. Just not been our run of luck. He turns and starts gathering the tangled feed lines, his frustration evident in the violence of his movements. We'll need a new set of these, that's for sure. He starts forcing them into a crate. So how about you try to track them down? I'll take a look at things here and see if I can figure out another fix for the reserve tank. He glances up from his work. From what I've heard on Hicksport, Factory Row is the place to find ship fitters. Maybe you can do some recon while I sort out this place. It's on the other end of the station. Okay, I'll take a look. Seraphim keeps working. Wait. He pauses, seemingly unsure. There's something else. He drops the feed lines and they float, waving in the air like tubular seaweed. I've heard word that Lane's on the hunt. He frowns. A message went out to everywhere in the local radius of Darkside. He's looking for us. And we can't leave. Exactly. Seraphim sighs. Which is why we need those feed lines. I'm going to try to work something out. Maybe I can improvise a solution, I don't know. He looks down. I'm no ship fitter. But while I do, you go hunting, see what you can turn up, okay? He smiles a weak smile. Now, get out of here. You leave the engine room, the clanking sound of Seraphim's cleanup efforts echoing through the ship. Fuel feed lines, that's the next step. You take a deep breath and head out. Oh, you've discovered a drive. Now, drives are, they're quests, basically, missions. So, when you complete them, you kind of get the points to put into your character sheet. Helps you track and choose your objectives. Press the arrow button on the top left to open the drive menu and choose which drive to track. Okay, so it's basically the journal. There are two major types though, major and minor. On completion, a major drive grants you 2 upgrade points and a minor one rewards 1. Okay, so we open this, we can see Escape Hexport is our drive. Lane's hunting us, so we need to find a ship fitter. So I've toggled the tracking on that. What's this? Rig engine. Okay, well that's probably... yeah. So we've got, I think he must have found 12 credits while we rested, because that's gone up. We can see the timer for Lane's arrival has gone up by a pip as well. If we explore this a bit more, that's Factory Row. We've also got the trade hall we saw. We don't need to go there though, really. What was this one again? Oh yeah, we can maybe try and do this again. If I put a 4 in there, I think it's a guaranteed positive result. Oh, it's not quite. It takes us up to a 5 though. If I was to put one of our 5s in, that would be guaranteed, but I think that's probably alright. Neutral outcome. So we've got 1. I lost 6 cryo, but it has filled up the dial. So if we... This is a place for contracts, so you just need to know. So this one doesn't say continue, it just says leave. So what happens if I leave? Maybe it's found us this canteen area? Let me have a quick look. That's just for eating. I think that probably gives you a good amount of energy for the amount of cost it's got, but I've got 4 pips on energy, so I'm not too worried about that right now. Need to note to self, escape doesn't just exit the screen you're on. Okay, so this is the factory row. This is where Seraphine asked us to come. So we've got another little clock that we need to fill up. We've got a couple of things. We've got endure, which we know we're not very good at, hence the strike through on that. Or I've got search the row. The factory owners of the row speak mostly in terms of supply and demand, but going door to door might help you find the ship fitter you need. So, intuit, what happens if I put a 4 in there? It stays a 4. If I put a 5 in, it kind of guarantees that we don't get a negative result, so let's do that. Positive, so we get 2 pips. You joust a little around scrap contracts, and the factory owners respond well to the haggling, eager to meet your challenges. Try that again. Hopefully that fills up that timer. Well, no, it's not a timer, but wheel. That was only a neutral outcome, so I only got 1 for that, which is a bit. It's not great. I'm going to I want to save my 6 basically for something I really need to do. I'm going to do this and hope that we don't get the negative result. Negative. We did fill up a part of the wheel, but I lost energy. So that was the negative outcome for that. Okay, well let's continue. That's okay. I can eat relatively cheaply. Factory row howls as you walk through its cramped passages. Whatever its many bays and rooms once were, they now serve as containers for industry of every kind. Whirring manufactories precisely engineer components with rapidly shifting arms, while scrappers hammer incessantly at bent ship plates. Everywhere you look there is energy and activity, and for good reason. Hexport itself is built on the derelict fragments of a solar reflector, and even the small amount of energy generated by its remaining mirrors is enough to power a city of machines. It is familiar to you, of course, in a strange far-off way because of Darkside. That place and your memories of it are a muddy haze, but it is hard to forget the glint of its hexagonal reflectors, 10 or 20 times more in number than Hexport, and that wild, flickering city growing on their back like a tumour. In comparison, Hexport feels provincial, but deep in Factory Row you could almost be back in Darkside. And then you see them, tubes just like those Seraphine had waved in your face, the feed lines. You push over to the display window of the unit marked Carston's Supply, in block capitals cut from hull plate. There, amongst an angled shelf of oversized ship components, sit the feed lines, like some large, biomechanical tangle of snakes. You slip inside, where the sound of Factory Row is a little screened, and spot a large figure working at a bench. Hunched over and concentrated, it seems he doesn't notice you enter. Hello? This is Carston, intimidating shipfitter. Okay. A sharp eye glints as the figure looks over their shoulder.
Can I help you?
His accent is heavy but unknown to you. Those feed lines, how much? There's a sharp clink as Carston places his tools and the component against a magnetic plate on the wall. He turns with surprising grace and begins cleaning his hands on a cloth. Those sharp eyes scan you, but Carston's thick-set features do not betray the results of his assessment.
Custom built those, for a client that never collected.
He looks at his hands while he speaks, checking for stray oil stains.
You have one of the old MEVs, then?
He sounds out the letters in a way you don't recognize as he speaks. You try to recall anything you know about your ship, but the memories elude you. Perhaps Seraphine should have come along. I think so. Carston squints a little.
Right. Look.
Carston drifts over to where you're standing, his imposing height evident.
For a fellow enthusiast like you, he continues in a distinctive monotone, let's say a few hundred cryo on clean shits.
He shoots a glance at the feed lines.
400, let's say, to be precise.
Oh, I don't have 400. He looks you up and down and sniffs.
It's expensive, I know. It's a shame, but just what they're worth.
He screws up his mouth a little into something that might be a smile.
However, I'm more of the bartering type myself anyway.
Barter sounds good. Carston nods sagely.
There's a little favour I need a crew for, and well, you look like you might be a good fit.
He tucks the cloth away in a pocket and clasps his hands.
I know of an old Solheim wreck out there, real old, pre-collapse. It's tucked away in a dead zone, so no one has ever really cut it. He shrugs. Not only that, but Solheim derelicts have a habit of triggering nasty security protocols when approached by an unfamiliar ship. So, it's been left well alone. But a salvager like you, with an old Solheim rig, I bet it wouldn't even flinch if it saw you coming.
He smiles.
I have a special interest. A need for all that old tech. All those Solheim ships had a data core, and while I don't care about the accounting reports or material ledgers or whatever they kept on the damn thing, I do care about the hardware. So if I was to find you back here with that data core in your cargo hold, clean cut and complete, well, then I could see my way to doing a straight barter for those feed lines.
Carsten pauses, sniffs at the air again.
You just need the coordinates.
Simple as that?
Simple as that,
He repeats.
You interested?
He glances back at his workbench.
Because I'm a busy man.
I'll do it.
Alright then.
He holds out a heavy hand for you to shake, and as you automatically reach out, he grabs your forearm instead. Carsten pulls you closer, squeezing your arm.
Let's keep this one between us, alright?
He half smiles, his face huge and close.
It's our deal.
Before you can respond, he thumbs a little drive into your palm.
Those coordinates.
And then he lets go of your arm with what you swear is a wink. You take a moment to gather yourself, and by the time you do, a whirring fills the air, Carsten having returned to his workbench. You turn and glide out of Carsten's supply with a growing mix of anxiety and excitement in the pit of your stomach, and the cacophony of Factory Row in your ears. A contract. Seraphin might even be impressed. You look at the drive in your palm and smile. This could be a route out. You think of leaving this place behind in possession of an improved ship, too. Suddenly, a small but firm hand falls on your back and an equally small voice coming with it. Hey, wait up! Junie, secretive data extractor. You turn in the passage to see a young woman, her hair waving from the rapid glide she clearly just came out of to catch you. She steadies herself using your shoulder. Sorry. She smiles a quick and flat smile. Wanted to catch you. I'm Junie. Her dark eyes flick around nervously. You notice the portable terminal she carries, something data scrapers call a deck, and her backpack full of components and trailing wires. What's up? Carsten. She starts, still catching her breath. He sent me to grab you. She smiles that flat smile again. Wants me to come with you on that job. Her eyes shoot down to the drive in the palm of your hand. She smiles again. Are you sure? She nods. Oh, that's what he said. Carsten's always sending me on things like this. I guess he wants me to help you out. Keep an eye on things. She pauses. I could be pretty helpful. So, she looks around the passage. Should I meet you at your ship and you can tell me when you're ready to go? Sounds good. Okay, great. Her eyes light up. She notices she still has her hand on your shoulder and takes it off. She pushes off and waves. Looking forward to working with you. She calls back as an afterthought. What about the ship? Oh, I'll find it. She calls back and then disappears down the passage. You watch her go, glad of the contract but nervous too. Will Carsten keep up his side of the bargain if you deliver? So that said, new local crew available. So we've made contacts among the locals, and I think to go out on this job we've probably got to assemble a bit of a team. I don't know about this, Sleeper. Seraphin looks nervously out of the rig's windows as you finish explaining Carsten's deal, as well as Junie's offer of help. If this job was easy, Carsten would have done it himself already. That means there's a catch. He frowns at the stars, and there's definitely something going on with this Junie girl. He shakes his head. What choice do we have? What if... Seraphin narrows his eyes. What if we could get the cryo together to buy the feed lines? I think Carsten wants to barter. You're right. Seraphin sighs. I just can't shake the feeling that we're wandering in blind. Plus, Seraphin gives you a sly look, I did manage to turn up something in my station wandering. I found a contract board in the exchange further in station. It gestures towards Hexport. We take on a job, that might get us most of the way towards buying those feed lines. Plus, even if we do want to take Carsten's job, a bit of money to get ourselves prepared wouldn't be a bad idea. Fill up on fuel, supplies, be ready for whatever comes. Do we have time? Yeah, probably not, but without cryo for fuel and supplies, we're not going anywhere. Seraphin sighs. Just take a look at the contract board, see what you think. While you're at it, you might want to see if you can scare up some freelance crew too. Seraphin shrugs. Many hands make light work and all that. Or we stop messing around. We take Carsten's job right now and get it done before he can think twice. Seraphin yawns. Seems like a whole set of bad options to me. Either way, I've still got work to do on the drive. Seraphin nods a farewell, heading back to the engine room. Let me know what you decide. For a moment you pause, letting the haze of plans and ideas settle in your mind. Suddenly you curl up, pain shooting along your spine. You grit your teeth, your muscles locked tight. Your vision narrows as you squeeze your eyes shut. You feel a shift, as if some connection is broken. It's almost impossible to describe, like you're floating away from your body, dispersing, dissolving. There is nothing familiar in the pain, nothing to hold on to. You grit your teeth. And then another shift comes, and you're back in your body, trembling against the metal wall of the passage. The pain slowly fades, becoming a pulsing throb and then a residual flicker. You flex in 0G, stretching out the tension. There's a strange sensation of distance that persists beyond the pain, a disconnection between your body and yourself, a flickering numbness that refuses to recede. You wonder if the reboot has done something to your body, or if this is some new sensation you'll have to live with indefinitely. It strikes you that you know so little about the body that houses you. It could be moments away from collapse, or it might persevere for countless cycles like this. You try to shake off the feeling, pushing your hands against each other until they feel like they're yours again. Time is the only thing you need, and right now, it feels like it's running out fast. You head to the airlock. You've got work to do. On to contract, okay. Okay, we got it. Okay, let's take a quick look at some of this stuff then. So let's look at the map. So we got contracts are high-risk, high-reward jobs that you and your crew can take on. Require preparation. You'll need to gather enough fuel to travel there, gather as many supplies as you could afford to keep you going. Look for opportunities to recruit crew, which we've already kind of done. Consider which crew to take carefully. They have different skills and stress resistances, and who you choose can affect the story. Interesting. Okay, let's go back for now. Let's look at the drive. So I guess that was a minor drive that I've got because I've already met someone. Escape Hexport, complete board contract, good. Have a quick look at our thing here. So I have 1 point available. What? Shall I put something in Endure? No, because I need 3 points. Okay, so that's the amount of that's the amount things will cost. Which makes me think I probably can't afford these either. Yeah, so I can't really do very much there at this stage, but I think we'll leave it there for now. So this is just a quick look at the demo for Citizen Sleeper 2. As I said, it's available on Steam as part of Next Fest that's going on at the moment, and it will be up until the 21st of October if you want to check it out for yourself. Also, if you want to check out my first Citizen Sleeper series, if you haven't seen that already, I'll link to that in the description as well. It's a game I really enjoyed, and to be honest, looking at this, I'm really looking forward to this now. This looks like it's, it's still very much Citizen Sleeper, but it looks like it's really expanded the scope, like being able to go out and complete different contracts, build a crew. That's all quite exciting stuff, actually. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. When it comes out, I'll definitely be playing on the channel. So check it out if you're still interested at that point. I'll just say thanks very much for watching. Hope you've enjoyed this. I'm going to be looking at some other demos that have been launched as part of Next Fest that have caught my eye. Games that are already on my wish list that have actually put demos out now. So, check in each day for more of those. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed it, as I hope you did. It'd be great if you could leave me a comment. Let me know what you thought about this look at Citizen Sleeper 2. If you played or watched my series on the first one, let me know your thoughts on the first game. Are you looking forward to this? Interested to hear. And if you're watching this and not yet subscribed to the channel, if you could do that, that would be amazing. So thanks very much. And I hope to see you elsewhere on the channel for other games, other playthroughs, other Next Fest demos. Bye for now.